Objective Physical Geology, multiple choice questions with answers. These are the collection from various previous years question papers, and I hope these are useful for various competitive exams like CSR, NET, GATE, GSI and other geology related exams. Welcome to set 17. Welcome to first question. Which drainage pattern is characteristic of uniformly dipping beds of ranging rock hardness? A. Dendritic, B. Trellis, C. Radial, D. Rectangular. So the correct option is A. Dendritic drainage. A dendritic drainage pattern, this is the most common form and it looks like the branching pattern of tree roots, and it develops in regions which is underlined by homogeneous material. So that is the subsurface geology. It has a similar resistance to weathering. So there is no apparent control over the direction of the tributaries. A is the correct option. Next question. Drainage pattern typically to domal uplift of volcanoes is A. Rectangular, B. Dendritic, C. Radial, D. Rectangular. The drainage pattern typical to the domal uplift of volcanoes is radial. The radial drainage pattern, it develops around a central elevated point. This pattern, it is common to such conically shaped features such as volcanoes, and the tributary streams, they extend the headward. It reaches the upslope towards the top of the volcano. C. Radial is the correct answer. Next question. River capture is developed during which stage? This is a very important. So A. Initial, B. Youth stage, C. Mature stage, and D. Old stage. So river capture, it is an important part that takes place in the youthful stage of a river. So B is the correct option. River capture, it takes place in the youthful stage of a river, and development of river capture, it depends on the differential rate of the headward erosion of the neighboring rivers into the water divide. So B is the correct. Next question. Low-lying land masses formed at the river mouth due to deposit is A. Gorges, B. Hogbacks, C. Deltas, D. Pediment. So low-lying land masses formed at the river mouths due to deposit is known as a delta. Delta is a landform which is created by the deposition of sediments that is carried by a river as the flow leaves its mouth, and it enters slow moving or stagnant water. And this is usually formed when the river, it meets the ocean, and deltas are very fertile. C is the correct option. Next question. Example for arcuate delta. A. Nile, B. Ganges, C. Both A and B, D. None of the above. So the correct option is, so what's the example for arcuate delta is both Nile and Ganges. Arcuate delta is the delta with a curve and the bow shape, and it has the convex margin which faces the water body. The same, it is also called as a fan-shaped delta, with examples of the river Nile delta in Egypt and the Ganges delta in India. So C, both A and B is the correct option. Next question. Example for bird's foot delta. A. Nile, B. Indus, C. Ganga, and D. Mississippi. So example for the bird's foot delta is the Mississippi. The Mississippi, it forms a bird's foot delta when it empties into the Gulf of Mexico. The Mississippi delta is the 7th largest delta on the earth, and it forms an important coastal region of the United States, and it covers roughly around an area of about 2.7 million acres. So D. Mississippi is the correct option. Next question. Find the odd one out. A. Waterfall, B. Cascade, C. Cataract, and D. Delta. So the correct option is D. Delta. All these are formed during the first stages, initial stages like waterfall, cascade, cataract, whereas the delta is formed during the final stage of the river cycle. Next question. Which of the following is formed in an old stage of a river? A. Floodplains, B. Alluvial fans, C. Both A and floodplains and B. Alluvial fans, and D. None of the above. So the correct option is C. Both and A and B. So that is the floodplains and the alluvial fans are developed during an old stage of a river. Next question. Low rounded and abraded mounds on the valley floor ornamented with fine striations are known as A. Escarps, B. Monadnocks, and C. Roche mountains, D. Drumlins. Low rounded and abraded mounds on the valley floor which is ornamented with the fine lines or striations are known as Roche mountains. So in glaciology, a Roche mountain, this is also known as a sheep back, and it is a rock formation which is created by the passing of a glacier, and the passage of the glacier ice over underlying rock or bedrock, it often results in an asymmetrical erosional forms, and as a result of the abrasion, it will form like stars on the upstream side of the rock and plucking on the lee. This is also known as the downstream side. So low rounded and abraded mounds on the valley floor ornamented with fine striations are known as Roche mountains. Next question. Unstratified mound-like deposits with long axis parallel to the direction of the glacial movement are A. Glacial, B. Dolines, C. Drumlins, and D. Moraines. So unstratified mound-like deposits with long axis parallel to the direction of the glacial movements are known as drumlins. Drumlins are oval-shaped hills largely composed of the glacial drift formed beneath a glacier or ice sheet and aligned in the direction of the ice flow. C. Drumlins is the correct answer. Next question. Unstratified glacial drift is A. Nunataks, B. Moraine, C. Erit, D. Esker. Unstratified glacial drift is moraine. So here moraines are the landforms which is composed of a glacial till which is deposited primarily by the glacial ice, and glacial till, so which is nothing but there's an unstratified and unsorted debris. So it is unsorted debris ranging in size from silt-sized glacial floor to large boulders. So the individual rock fragments are typically subangular to rounded in shape. So moraine is an example of an unstratified glacial drift. Next question. Stratified glacial drift deposited in the form of a terrace along the valleys is A. Moraine, B. Esker, C. Came terrace, and D. None of the above. So stratified glacial drift deposited in the form of a terrace along the valley walls is Came terrace. So C is Came terrace is the correct option. Came terrace is a terrace of stratified sand and gravel. These are deposited by the streams between a glacier and an adjacent valley wall. So stratified glacial drift deposited in the form of a terrace along the valley walls is C. Came terrace. Next question. Very sharp peaks formed in a steep sided mountain due to the enlargement of 3 or more cirques. A. Lapis, B. Horns, C. Outwash plain, and D. Nunataks. So the correct option is B. Horns. So horns are nothing but the pointed peaks that are bounded on at least 3 sides by glaciers, and they typically have flat faces that give them a somewhat pyramidal shape, and these are sharp and very pointed or distinct edges. So B. Horns is the correct answer. Next question. Lakes occupying the cirques are A. Playas, B. Tarns, C. Molisol, D. None of the above. Lakes occupying the cirques are known as tarns. So tarns are nothing but a tarn or corrie loch is a mountain lake, pond or pool. It is formed in a cirque which is excavated by a glacier. So lakes occupying the cirques are known as a tarns. B is the correct option. Next question. Long, deep, narrow lakes occupying the excavated floors of glacial valleys are A. Tarns, B. Ribbon lakes, C. Playas, and D. None of the above. Long, deep, narrow lakes occupying the excavated floors of the glaciated valleys are known as a ribbon lakes. A ribbon lake is a large, narrow lake which is occupying a U-shaped valley, and it forms in a hollow, means when a glacier has more deeply eroded less resistant rocks, or it might be fill up a valley behind a wall of a moraine across the valley. So long, deep, narrow lakes occupying the excavated floors of the glaciated valleys are known as ribbon lakes. B is the correct option. Next question. Which of the following is an indicator of glacial climate? A. Scratched rock fragment, B. Tillites, C. Undecomposed feldspar, D. All of the above. So all these like scratched rock fragment, tillites, and undecomposed feldspars, they are very good indicators of glacial climate. So D is the correct option. Next question. An etched, pitted, rounded, and rugged surface formed in areas of high relief is called A. Polges, B. Lapis, C. Dolines, and D. Uvalas. So the correct option is B. Lapis. An etched, pitted, rounded, and rugged surface which is formed in areas of high relief is known as a lapis. So lapis are uneven grooves and ridges that form when the majority of the limestone surfaces is removed by solution process. And here the deep grooves, they separate the etched, fluted, and pitted rock pinnacles that make up the weathered limestone surfaces which are seen in the karst region or limestone regions. So B, lapis is the correct option. Next question. Larger depressions formed by the collapse of extensive roof striations are known as A. Dolines, B. Uvalas, C. Polges, and D. Ponars. So large depressions which are formed by the collapse of extensive roof striations are known as a uvalas. Uvala is a large elongate sinkhole resulting from the enlargement, that is broadening of the, and coalescence means due to mixing of the linear group of small sinkholes. When all sinkholes gather, they form a large depression. They are known as a uvalas. B is the correct option. Next question. Calcareous deposits formed by percolating water containing calcium carbonate in solution and occupying the form of solid columns are called A. Humus, B. Dripstones, C. Helictites, D. Anthodites. So the correct option is B. Dripstones. So dripstones is nothing but a type of speleothem. It is also known as a cave formation. Speleothem is also known as a cave formation, which includes, for example, stalactites, dripstone, a type of water filter made of porous stone. So calcareous deposits which are formed by percolating water and which contain calcium carbonate in solution, and they occupy huge solid columns. So these are known as a dripstones. B is the correct option. Next question. Large, more or less closed depressions with steep sides and flat alluvial floors are A. Nunataks, B. Polges, C. Eskers, D. Dripstones. So large, more or less closed depressions with steep sides and flat alluvial floors are known as a polges. A polge is nothing but in geological terminology, it is a large flat floored depressions within the karst limestone, whose long axis it develops in parallel with the major structural trends. And these structural trends, they can also become the several miles. They may occupy few tens of kilometers long, and the superficial deposits, they tend to accumulate along the floor. So large, more or less closed depressions with steep sides and flat alluvial floors are known as polges. Hope you have learned some important aspects of physical geology, and see you in the next video. Hope you can subscribe, and thank you for your time, and your suggestions are most welcome. Thank you.